As the economy slows down, might law firm profits be going up? That's going to be the topic of today's show as we jump into looking at what's happening in the law firm world. You have an article here from Bloomberg talking about how legal firms have had ups and downs in light of the pandemic, but they're looking at potential financials of the big law firms, and it looks like they may be in for a great year. We'll look at the fundamentals why here in just a second. Welcome to our channel. Hope you subscribe, ring the bell for notifications if you enjoy law articles for business leaders and business owners. So please tune in, please subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, and let's jump into today's article from Bloomberg, which is citing research from Wells Fargo. And there'll be a link to the article below so you can read it as well. Law firms have struggled a little bit with the down economy because basically things softened, things got upset. They had a bad year in 2020, but 2021 had outstanding financial performance. So Bloomberg's asking the question, what's going to happen? Is that 2021 just a one-time deal, or will we be having a great 2022? And they look at a couple of different things. One thing they do is they say that big law firm profits come largely from M&A and capital market transactions, right? That's companies either buying each other or raising money in the markets. That obviously is slowing as the economy is going down, which would seem to indicate that the law firms would be in for a problem, right? Less economic activity, less of these big transactions. How could you keep your employees working as much, right? Because if we look underneath the hood of a big law firm, what we typically have is a number of partners. These are generally divided into equity partners and non-equity partners. So some partners are actual owners of the company, of the law firm, and some partners are named partners, but they're not actually economic owners. They're more they have partner names, they have partner potentially responsibilities, partner abilities. Often you need partners to sign off on certain transactions, etc. But there are partners that are not full owners of the firm. And so what a lot of firms do is they'll have these two tiers. They'll move people into the lower partnership tier often at the beginning of their partnership. It's kind of a trial run. So you put folks basically on a treadmill as an associate. You see if they can keep up on the treadmill. If they can become very profitable, then you might advance them to partner. And then what this does really is puts them on a new treadmill to run to try to become an equity partner. Equity partners where really the huge profits and the big numbers you see in the media being reported. So as we look at this, if you want to raise your profit per partner, profit per equity partner, you've got to have other people running on the treadmill and running fast. And so if they slow down, there's not as much money to distribute around everybody else, right? So how do you make up for this shortfall? What do you do when you can't keep billing, or when the economy slows down? It would seem like you'd be in trouble. Well, part of that might be layoffs. This article doesn't really get into that, but that's part of what a law firm could do, is just get rid of people. And so they could just join a lot of the tech companies and others and say, hey, we just don't need as much work right now. Let's give you a severance package and move you on to something else. They might be quietly telling people to move on right now. I will tell you, these law firms generally monitor their employees, the associate lawyers and non-equity partners, very well. They know who's making money. They know who's not making money. And they're picking the winners and losers. So they know exactly who may be staying and who wouldn't want to stay. But if the tide's rolling out, and as this article says, and you can't bill more hours because the economy's slowing down, although this article says maybe we're escaping a recession, I think we're headed squarely for it. So how do you make up for this? And the answer is to increase your billing rates. And they look at historical studies of full year revenue growth. And it looks like for many law firms, They have a slight bump in their revenue growth later in the year. So you look at the rate increases at the beginning of the year are 4.3% in 2019, 5.9% in 2020, 6.7% in 2021, 5.8%. So rates have gone up significantly. Revenue has gone up even more, and that shows you that disconnect between billing hours and rates. But they think what's going to happen here in 2020 is that this rate differential is going to make up for it. What they're seeing is the law firms have a lot of pricing power, essentially. These big law firms get to set the rates with their clients. Now, that may seem counterintuitive to a lot of us, just looking at it from a surface, right? We're in a soft economy. People are looking for work. You would think the competition would go up and these law firms would have a hard time, passing on higher billing rates. Yes and no. One thing that happens in this big law firm world is, yes, it is competitive. The clients usually get locked into particular people or groups that they work with regularly. They can potentially change, but it's difficult because of conflicts of interest and other reasons. You start working with a law firm, they get to know you, they know your details. Your competitors are probably working with somebody else. You usually don't want to work with the same law firm as your competitor unless you're hiring somebody for something specialized. But your general counsel, your outside general counsel, your outside go to firm is generally going to be somebody who is not servicing your competitor. So that starts dividing the world. And then, of course, you start getting conflicts of interest because big companies get into big litigation and that starts spurning conflicts. And so, some firms are going to be more investor side, some firms are going to be more business side, corporate side, some are going to work with the investor groups that are investing in the companies. And so these transactions, by the time you have a bank involved, a broker involved, the actual company, the purchaser, you can end up with 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 law firms involved in a transaction. So that all is to say that it's hard for some of these businesses just to say, hey, I want to move to a different law firm. Yes, you could. There's a lot of law firms that would love to have the business of big corporate type clients, and many would fight for it. But in that top tier, biggest law firms with the best reputations and the best infrastructure and the diverse practice groups, etc., there's only so many of them to go around. And these people don't have that full choice. So while you and I are potentially watching our expenses go up, maybe we're not making as much as our jobs, maybe our hours are softening, business is changing, right? It may be a tough time for many people in the American economy. For the big law firm world, their business model is such that they're, at least according to Bloomberg and Wells Fargo, who Bloomberg references, they don't think it's going to be as tough for them. And they've kind of built this moat around themselves. What are the lessons for you and me? What's the lessons for the rest of us? We can use this same type of strategy in our lives and our business, right? How do we keep people coming back for us? How do we make it to where it's hard for people to resist our price increases or changes? Obviously, we want to keep enhancing the quality of our goods and services and keep getting better, but we could run ourselves out of business if we end up in that downward chase to always be the lowest price. There's very few people that win that war, right? Walmart being, one of the major exceptions, right? They try to focus on low price and they keep winning that battle just because of their massive infrastructure and ability to focus on it. But aside from a handful of people, the Walmarts of the world, most people don't win on that race to the bottom price. Big law firms are getting the message, right? Well, our answer is not to lower our rates. Our answer is actually to entrench ourselves with higher rates, increase our billing rates so that even if we're working less hours, billing less hours, being less productive as far as creating bills as a law firm, we still have just as much money coming in there. They've built that business model that way. You may or may not like that as a consumer, particularly if you're a consumer of big law firm services, but that's what they're doing. And so, what I challenge you to think about is What can you do in your business to build that kind of moat? I would love to hear in the comments what you're doing to make your business so valuable and so important that customers really have to come to you. Join me in the comments. Please don't put anything confidential there. And if you haven't done so yet, please subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, and give this video a like so more people can see it. Thanks for tuning in today. Look forward to joining you for another video soon.